There's such great business imperatives that come out of this work in the DEI space. And how would you describe that?
Yeah, well, I think there's a two-part to that, right? It's morally the right thing to do, right? We want to be able to serve everyone and meet their needs. No one should feel excluded or not to have access to opportunities, right? Exactly. I mean, everybody wants an opportunity to be successful and to be recognized, to be heard, to be seen. But then, of course, there is the business piece of it too, right? We understand, yes, it's the right thing to do, but it's also so smart, right? When you have the different voices at the table, when you can have that innovation and creativity and just the mind share that happens when you have diverse candidates or diverse people at the table, businesses thrive, employees thrive, right? They are doing things that they may not have, you know, if they didn't feel like they could show up as their authentic self. So in all of this work, it's really about putting on a new lens, a lens to look at the world and what you're doing that is different than before. It is always looking through diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? Always finding a space where you can acknowledge what could be done differently, what could be done better.
Yeah, I read a stat recently that over 80% of organizations around the world have implemented or acted on some sort of a DE&I initiative. So companies are ready. They're putting a line in the sand and saying they want to do something, right? And now is the perfect time to take action.
And almost looking at it from a different perspective, which is if you are in a company that already has a diverse pool of employees, right? Because you hire people from all over the world. Now we can work virtually from anywhere. And you have this amazing, diverse pool of people, and you're not utilizing really your workforce to their best potential. So that's not a smart business decision. You're basically are leaving money on the table, right? Because I think it's 58% more productivity within the diverse teams. And that's because different people sit at the table and they challenge each other and they have different experiences. They live different truths. Therefore, they see different solutions to the same problem. If we are just a little bit more open-minded and understand that whether it's Graebel or somebody else, these individuals already work for the company, right? Why not include everybody and get everybody's perspective when the data is there? The data just shows it all, that it's higher revenue, more productivity, and way more involved workforce.
Yeah. Data's everything. I mean, Michelle, you've been working in data in this space for a little while now.
It's game changer. That's another aha moment when we start looking at that and really validating some assumptions. But if their goal to have like a very diverse leadership team and you're not moving a diverse population, your goals are not aligning. Right. So, and when you show that to them, they're like, oh, like this isn't right. It's like, but that's okay. That's the whole purpose of doing the project, to show them that so that they can change. Because to your point, it's sometimes they just don't know, and sometimes life just gets in the way. Like it's not on purpose; it just happens. And
get in the habit of doing what's
it's your go-to person. You just go to them, you know. So, but having the data, it's just it's amazing. You're like, okay, let's do this again.
It's fascinating to dive into those policies and understand that, like, oh my gosh, we've been having those best practices for decades now, and we've just all been used to doing this. But when you start uprooting this and asking all of these questions, all of a sudden you go, oh, wow, we might have a whole new trends coming up here in mobility when we really dig deep and want to make it equitable. I'm very excited. I think the next couple of years are going to be transformational within mobility, because many of our customers already understand that this needs to touch mobility. And if it does touches mobility, it's going to introduce some changes. So exciting times ahead.
Well, you hit on something I think is really important to kind of go a little bit deeper on, and that's policies that have been around for decades. Well, who was that policy designed to serve? Exactly. And those are the questions we have to be asking. They were designed to traditionally serve a traditional demographic and population, and that population and demographic is changing. So we need to be looking at policies and benefits for the future demographics. Who is going to be moving? How are we redefining what the family looks like and what the family is.
Or the agility, right? The flexibility of the policies that we are discovering right now, because different demographics, different ethnicities, different nationalities, different genders have different needs. So introducing the flexibility in benefits and in parameters of the benefits and keeping cost constant, equal, as you said, that's also a fairly new concept to understand, well, through the D&I lens. We have done this for a while, right? Because we want to empower the employee to make choices for themselves. But adding that D&I lens is going to be also very, very important moving forward, because it will introduce more of the flexible choices.
Yeah. Flexibility in policies has been a way to open the door for people to really understand how to apply this to their mobility practices and within the organization. I really think mobility has an opportunity to be a catalyst in this space and really make a change and align with some of these organizational goals that are put into place, and figure out how can they align them, open the door, make sure people are represented, and then helped on the other side. And I think a lot of times you've got these mandates to have, more diverse hiring practices and things like that. And a lot of companies are stopping there. Like, okay, we're going to hire diverse people in the company. Yes. But if you're not setting up those people to be successful on the other side, you're going to find failure rates. And that's what we've been finding with some of the data that we've been digging into. Yeah. It can be shocking. Just like having uncomfortable conversations, you've got to dig into the data and see it for the reality that it is, and then, make some steps towards getting it to a better place, right? I mean, you've seen that.
Companies are realizing now that you can have diversity and not have inclusion, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've seen this over and over again.
Yeah, and then it's for me, I would call that performative, right? It looks good, but you can't have inclusion without harnessing what diversity brings. And so it goes one way or the other, right? You can have diversity, but not have inclusion. But you can't have inclusion without harnessing the greatness of diversity.
Yeah, we're on a journey. And we've been on a journey. And it's been incredible to see the journey from even, like you said, 5 years ago until now, things that are happening and just aligning. There's such a nice alignment with Graebel and, like you said, our values of truth, love, and integrity, and the work that we're doing in this space, and trying to figure out how can we use our platform to help other organizations apply this work to mobility and do great good on the other side, right? So,
which is what we do with every project that we have. We incorporate it in some fashion. We challenge our customers to think differently. We challenge the teams to think differently. It could be just a wording choice, or it could be a benefit choice. But every project that we touch, it doesn't have to be a specific DEI project. We bring it in. We somehow incorporate it in, which is the fun part. But then as we do it, we keep second guessing ourselves too. Is this good enough? Is this good enough? So more work is coming your way. We're gonna have more templates to look at. Like, do we need to tweak them again? Because to your point, it's a journey. And we're learning through the journey. And that's what we also keep reminding our clients. Everybody's in a different place in their journey, and that's okay. That's really okay. Like I've said it before, it can be a little clunky, but that's okay too, because that's how you learn.
Yeah, we meet you where you are, right? We meet you where you are, and then build a plan that takes you into the future. And for us, I mean, there's so many people that are just starting at the ground foundational baseline level, right? And, if you talked about systemic change and things like that, I mean, if you want to really see systemic change, you've got to dig a little deeper, be okay with being a little uncomfortable in order to take things to the next level.